Good morning, designers. We are so excited this morning and grateful that Danielle Oakey of Danielle Oakey Shop is going to be here telling us how she turned her side hustle into a full-fledged business. And please welcome me in joining us today. And we are very, very excited. So let me tell you a little bit about Danielle Oakey Shop. If you don't know, you should definitely know about her pillow shop. She's killing it. Danielle Oakey Shop is an online interior store that sells high quality and unique pillow covers made from vintage and designer fabrics. And a little background about Danielle. She is the owner and founder of Danielle Oakey Shop. Danielle graduated with her bachelor's in interior design in 2007 and shortly after launched her interior design blog and e-design company. In December of 2015, so almost 3 years old, which is amazing, your business, she opened Danielle Oakey Shop, which she now runs full-time. Danielle has 2 kids, ages 10 and 5, and runs a pillow shop from her home in Wisconsin. And we actually found out about you, Danielle, from one of our Ivy designers, Lindsay Brooke Design, who loves to source your product and highly has recommended you. And I've been personally following you, so we're very excited to have you today. And really excited to talk about how you've kind of turned this blog and e-design business into a full-fledged business. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for letting me come here. I was so excited when you reached out to me. And then I was able to talk to Lindsay a little bit about it, and she had nothing but really great things to say. So I'm happy to be here.
Great. All right. So what we will be covering today is kind of like the both sides, understanding the design aspect of the interior design industry and understanding the vendor side of the industry and what you've learned from your experiences. So 1, how designers can turn their side hustle into a business. 2, what hurdles you faced, how you coped and continue to move forward, because we all know that running a business has its ups and downs. And 3, once you get into a solid point of your business, really understanding how to scale your business and kind of also the back end side of your business too.
Yeah.
Great. So, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, so the beginnings, we want to hear it. How did you turn this concept into a full-fledged business?
So this is a really big question. I had been doing online interior design for a really long time, about 8 years before I decided to open up a product line. At the time, my husband was a resident, a medical resident, and so he was working crazy long hours and wasn't making a ton of money. Okay. And I was working crazy hours doing e-design. And when I first started doing e-design, it was kind of before there was a lot of e-design out there. And it was really challenging to know what you could charge. The technology wasn't really there. People were unaware of this space or that it was even something that people trusted. And so I really did undercharge. And so I was working so hard and I felt like I wasn't making enough money. And I had always had this passion to have some sort of a store or a product, and the timing just felt right. And I was located in Southern Orange County at the time, and I was visiting the flea markets, and I was being so inspired by all the textiles that I saw there. And I just thought, I'm going to go for it. I've been doing interior design for a long time, and I'm passionate about it and the creative side of it, but I wanted to try out something else. And so I gathered some money together. I borrowed $500 from my dad, and I put together 24 pillows. That's my first pillows that I launched. Okay. I launched Etsy, and I sold them all like the first day because I had grown a small following on my Instagram from doing blogging and design for so long, and people had trusted a little bit of my design style, and so I was able to sell them, and that's what I did. I took all the money from the 24 pillows and I reinvested it back into the shop, and I did it over and over and over again. So it's been really slow, but really steady and more successful than I could have ever imagined.
That's amazing. So, okay, let me get this straight. So e-design 8 years ago, how did you decide if you went to school for interior design that you were going to go into e-design? Because I really think that's hitting, there was no technology to do e-design. You know, you hear about e-design now and there's sites and websites and you can use Ivy to manage and log and communicate with your clients. But how were you even in the beginning doing e-design? How did you build this blog? How did you build this following?
So at the time I had just had my daughter, and she was born severely premature. So she was born at 24 weeks. And so she spent a long time in the NICU and had, she could not go to daycare because she had an immune system that couldn't handle it and she would get sick really easily. So I had no choice but to stay at home with her. And my husband was a medical student at the time. And so I needed a creative outlet and a way to make a little bit of money. And so I had decided to start a blog because blogs were kind of getting going at that point. Yep. And I needed a little outlet. And so I started this blog. And quickly after starting my blog, people came to me for design services. They wanted my help. Okay. But I did not have the capability to do full service interior design. I was at home with my daughter. I didn't have help from my husband. He was so busy. I didn't have family around me. I didn't have childcare. And so I naturally said, I can do this for you, but I'll just do it online. And so it was really rickety. And I would just make design boards and give them links.
Wait, how did you make the design boards?
So
through PowerPoint, or what were you using?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of the same way that I still will do different design boards for myself because I'm so used to it, but I use Keynote. Okay. And then I use a program called clippingmagic.com. Okay. It's a tool for $8 that you can remove the backgrounds from images, and then you just curate them into boards, and I would send the links separately. Okay. I charged like a really small amount at first, like $75 for a board or something like that. Okay. But it was a board. But it was, I guess a board was for each room. Each room. I charged per room. Okay. Okay. Got it. And then you would send the links in like a Google Doc or something like that. And the links and a plan, describe how to describe the design and where I would put things or where I would hang things, or I would send a floor plan. And the same thing, I would detail it out like I would in design school, like where you would put things. And I did it to scale on a floor plan software, and that was it. And then I would set up the designs and we would work like that. And I did that for a really long time. I mean, I did some local work, but I wouldn't do full service. So I wouldn't order for people because it was just too much to manage at the time. Yeah. But for the most part, I was e-design. That is what I did. Okay. Okay. And then at that point you were growing your following because you had the blog. So people kind of knew who you were. And were you still in Orange County, or had you moved at that? Actually, at this point, when I started blogging and everything, we were in Utah. Okay. We've moved a ton, which is another thing about my business, is where I needed something that could move with me, because we've moved a ton for my husband's training and we were not going to be set still anywhere. So I really had to make my business work with what we've got going on in our lives. And so, yeah, we lived in Utah, and then we moved to Idaho, and then we moved to California, and that's when I started the shop. Okay. Okay. Got it. So you've moved a lot. So I like that point. And that's a good point to our designers that are tuning in with us today, is that having a sort of virtual design business, you know, with your situation and the hurdles that you kind of already answered my next question, but the hurdles that you faced in terms of what you could do, what you had the bandwidth to do, and how you wanted to be creative, that you could kind of do this from anywhere. You could do it when your daughter was sleeping. And was the technology hard for you at first? Like, did you kind of have to figure out that system? You weren't charging enough, and I would tell you 10 times over you weren't charging enough, but it was a learning curve, you know, you started somewhere. But I guess my question would be, like, how did you bend and mold and flex with technology as you were sending stuff to people? Did you have affiliate links so you were at least making some sort of passive income on the furniture that you were telling them to buy, or how did that process work? So affiliate links didn't come around for quite some time when started. So no, I wasn't making any passive income off of affiliate links for a long time, because they just didn't exist. And honestly, even the availability of furniture online was very limited at that time. And so it was like a huge challenge. We were using a lot of really basic pieces and putting them together, but that kind of helped me because I was able to create designs for people that were affordable and accessible for them. And that was kind of my brand, to be able to make design accessible for everybody. The problem with that turned out to be that people that have really, really small budgets don't have a big budget for a design service, which is totally understandable. And so I just wasn't able to charge enough money for my services. And I found myself working too hard, and I wasn't scaling as far as what I would charge. I wasn't upping my rates enough because I didn't understand my value as a designer at the time.
Okay. Good. Well, that's not good, but it's good that you can speak to it now. And I think that it's really important. And that's kind of why, Ivy is a business and community management tool, but we really focus on the education piece. So you were ahead of the curve. Like, you were using technology before technology even existed. Your biggest hurdle was the tech not being there. I think that we just listened to a webinar on affiliate links, and it's a good question. Reward style wonder, it's been around for 5 years-ish.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because you were trying to really revolutionize the industry when it didn't exist. It was like a brick and mortar. You had to take your body into a design center or at market, which wasn't necessarily feasible. And that's a pretty big hurdle. But what was the biggest kind of aha moment of when you were blogging and you had your e-design and you kind of and how long did it take you? How many years did it take you to get to that point of, okay, I'm going to buy my 24 pillows?
So I was working a lot, and I was working well into the night. And my children were young. And so having something, I really felt the desire to have something that could make money when I wasn't immediately doing it. So I wasn't selecting a product or sending an email or doing something like that, then it can make money. And I had gotten into doing affiliate links, and I was making good money off of my blog by doing links. And so I felt like I was working really hard for not making enough money. And there was all these opportunities out there now because of the way technology had changed to make more of a passive income. And also, while I was doing e-design, probably one of the hardest things to find was good pillows. And it was something that I found to be really frustrating because there was nothing out there. And I actually still think the market lacks for it. And so it was kind of like, this product is something that I could build, and I really wanted to build something that I eventually could pull away from a little bit and hire people to do jobs that I didn't necessarily need to do, and feel like I was still moving my business forward. And I know I could have done that in design. I just wasn't in the position to do that right then because I didn't have a place to run. I didn't have anywhere for anybody to work. I didn't have anywhere. We were moving so much, and it was just too many unknowns. And so an online store was like, yes, this is the time. I'm going to do this now.
That's so interesting because it really is a leap of faith, right? And there's a lot that goes into making the perfect pillow, the insert, the fabrication, the price point, that is somebody really going to buy something that they see online? And I think that, and I've learned a lot about you, even just chatting for 15 minutes, that is hard, and I've worked in very traditional roles in my career personally, and I helped run an interior design firm, and I had different obstacles as you, but I think that when the technology really became available, it really helped you be able to propel your business forward.
Sure.
So what was it like when you first started creating that website? What did you even build? Somebody was just asking, what did you build your website in, and how did you know the technology piece of it?
So I just started on Etsy. Like I said, I did not have the funds to really start a business. And I didn't have a big pile of money that I could pull from. I didn't have anything. And so I started on Etsy because Etsy is free and it's super user friendly. The other thing I love about Etsy is that people can use it for affiliate links. And so influencers are drawn to Etsy because if they link to your pillow, they will get a commission off of it. And so there were a lot of things that were lined up on Etsy that I really did enjoy. And so I started there. It was super simple. I did all my own photography, loaded those pillows up and advertised them myself on Instagram. And that
advertise, you mean just free advertising, just on Instagram, not like paid advertising?
No, free advertising. I've started a pillow shop. Come follow me. I started my own Instagram for the pillow shop because I actually still have my other Instagram and it just sits there and it's on my mind because I love to share design and I love to share design boards. I just haven't gotten to the spot where I can do it again. But I didn't want the people that followed me there and followed me for interior design to just get like overloaded with my product. And so I wanted them to follow me because they wanted to buy or follow this experience and this journey that I am for building a business. And so
separate Instagram handle for your design business and separate Instagram for your pillow shop.
Yeah. And I think about that now. I feel like people probably wouldn't do that now, but at the time, like that's what you did. You would separate them. But now people have so many different facets to what they do, and they have so many different revenues of making money that it's kind of all in one brand. But at the time, it felt like that's what I should do. And so, yeah, I opened a new Instagram and started building over there.
It's so interesting because you've really hit at this point where things really changed in the business, and it seems like it's actually worked to your advantage because the timing kind of lined up for you. And like you said, and that was kind of the objective of why I wanted to kind of chat with you today and just kind of get the inside scoop, because I know so many designers personally that have a separate pillow shop, that have maybe a separate line, or they have different things. There's so many different sources of, you can work up licensing deals. And for example, we just did something with Christopher Kennedy and he has artwork that he does with Wendover. There's so many other options of working smarter, not harder. And I think it's really interesting, but I also think that some designers have a hard time managing it all. So tell us a little bit, how do you manage it all? You're a full-time mom. I know because I follow you on Instagram, you dealt with a flood in your house. You have a lot of things going on, but how do you kind of do it? And do you have help?
I don't do it all. So that's the first key. I've kind of learned over this process of running the business, because the ironic thing about all this is I wanted something that would take less of my time, but that is not the case at all. And I hope one day it will, but we are in the building stages of this business and it definitely does not take less of my time, but it is more flexible for sure than it was. I'm not answering to anybody else. But if I'm not working, my sales are not as good. So there is this pressure, but I'm not, nobody's waiting on me for a design or something like that. So in that aspect, I do like it a little bit better. But I don't do it all, but I have kind of learned through the process that one thing is going to do great one day and one thing isn't. So if I decide that I'm going to really focus my attention on my shop and I am going to have a great sales day and I'm going to do all the marketing that I want to do and I'm going to get all the pictures taken and my website cleaned up and get my inbox completely taken care of, my family is most definitely eating out for dinner, and we are probably not going to have a clean house, and I'm not going to check any of the boxes there. And there are days where I just feel like, you know what, I'm not going to focus on my shop today. And those days I can focus on my family more. And I used to feel a little bit bad about it, but I don't anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking moments to prioritize certain things in your life that are even outside of your family. And I don't think my kids care that they eat Chipotle once a week. Like, they don't care that we eat out or that they don't have like freshly baked muffins. Like, they don't care. And so, and I think they like seeing that I'm so passionate and that I am doing something for myself. So, so I kind of learned that, and that's helpful for me in my mental game. And then as far as help, so I have a girl that comes and does shipping for me. She does all the shipping and runs my inventory room. Obviously, I'm a seamstress. I don't do any of my own sewing. She does all that. I just hired a virtual assistant this week. She's going to start. And so
that's so awesome. When we were at High Point, Anne Sage, this is so funny because everybody in the audience like turned their heads when she said, yeah, I have a virtual assistant. I can't get my inbox down to 0. So I pay her $30 an hour. She's in Florida. She loves it. And it's amazing. And everybody's jaw just dropped. And they were like, what the heck am I doing? So now this is a sign to all of our listeners, all of our Ivy designers. If you're not using Ivy, I don't even care, but hire that virtual assistant. Take the leap of faith.
Yeah. I mean, I should have done it way before this for sure. And I'm sure my shop would have been way farther if I would have, but I didn't. And I found this amazing girl. She starts this week and I already have like this list like this big for her. And I'm so excited about all the things that we're going to be able to achieve because I can't, there's just no way. I mean, I still do most of my own photography. I still do most of my own stuff. And so I'm just spinning wheels and honestly, it's not productive. And so, yeah, so I'm really excited. So I have a virtual assistant. And then I also have a girl that helps me with buying. So she sources fabrics and she is finding all the new stuff that is coming out and sending it to me so that I'm always up to date on what I need to get my hands on.
Okay, so that's really helpful. So the key tip here, designers, is outsourcing. You can't do it all. And I like how you said, and I never talk about this enough, but the self-realization that not all days you're going to be 150% a mom, 150% a businesswoman, and your house is going to be maybe not perfect.
Right.
And knowing that that's okay and coming to terms with that and not letting yourself feel guilty. And like you said that really well. I actually haven't heard anybody say that in a long time of, my kids don't really care eating out. They see me and they know that I'm thriving and that you're actually acting as a mentor to them, that in this economy, as hard as it is, and, you know, supporting yourself and running a business and accounting and all of the stuff that comes with it, that you're doing that on your own. I think that that's a bigger win for your kids rather than having them have fresh baked muffins every morning, right?
Also, at least, right?
Yeah. Oh, your kids are older because you said your kids are 10 and 5.
Yeah, so my kids are older, which is another element to this for sure. I could have never opened this shop when my kids were young. Like really young. I opened when Theo, my youngest, was, well, I guess he would have been almost 3. And so he was like able to do most things by himself. He wasn't like needing me every minute. And so that allowed me just so much more flexibility, where e-design was really great during those years because if he was napping or if he was like at bedtime, then I could work on emails and stuff, where this, I don't know, it's just different. It works better for me now that my kids are older because they can do so much on their own now and they don't need me for like.
They're going to be helping you soon. They're going to be your shipping people, running the orders.
Yeah, I do put them to work regularly already. So
it's so funny. It reminds me of, there's a farmer's market down here and like he has the longest line and he always has his kids there helping him, but they're of the age and they like, instead of doing chores, come help dad on Saturday and it's great.
Yeah.
Like it makes total sense.
I always ask, do you want to take over the pillow shop one day? So far, I don't have any takers, but I'm holding up for it.
You're holding them to it. Okay, that's awesome. And has your business evolved from when you started, 3 years ago to now, and in terms of like even the pillows that you're creating or the inserts that and your product offering, and how have you known when it's time to evolve or like make a change?
So yeah, we have changed so much. So I started with basically all vintage textiles. I was buying from the markets. I was doing African indigos and mud cloths and vintage textiles from Thailand. Stuff from Thailand literally sold out. Like it's not available anymore, basically. And so that was like obviously a moment of needing to pivot. And then selling vintage textiles or one-of-a-kind textiles is extremely time consuming and honestly not very profitable because every pillow has to be shot. Every pillow has to be photographed. It's every different. You can't get 2 of a kind or 3 of a kind. You'll sell one pillow and someone will see it and say, oh, I want that one. You'll say, I can never get that one again. You know, they're one of a kind. And so knowing that I wanted to scale my business is when I decided to start offering designer textiles. And so now I carry designer textiles and pillows, and I'm able to sell the same pillow over and over and over again. And I mix them with my vintage textiles. I still have that element, but we've definitely evolved in the type of pillows that we are selling, for sure.
Okay, that makes sense. And you said something that I thought was really interesting, that you do your own photography. So speak to us a little bit about that, because that just blew, like, that's crazy. So because, you know, there are these designers that really have like a product that they want to sell in conjunction with doing their design services. Obviously, I get that it's a little bit different for you because you're just doing your shop now, but I think it's a really good way to save money so your overhead is low. And I think that I was a buyer for Piperline when it existed, and putting a picture on a website, you have to have really good photography. You're selling a product without somebody touching and feeling it. So what advice can you give to our design community if they can't be their own photographer, or how do you got started doing your own photography? Did you go to school? Did you take classes? What's that like?
So the way I do it is probably not the right way to do it, but honestly, a lot of it's just come from the fact that I've been a business that's bootstrapped. I have, you know, self-funded. And so there has not been a lot of money to put into the business. And I run an inventory heavy business, which means that each pillow cover that I carry in stock, I've had to pay for. And so I've had to be really careful on where I spend money. And so naturally at first, photography was done by me. It still is done by me. At this point, it probably should not still be done by me, but because I've been doing it for so long, I took an online class to teach me how to shoot on manual mode with SLR. And that's it. And I just feel like I just like pay attention to what's out there, and I've learned for doing it so long that I do it myself. Now, I don't think I should probably still be doing it myself. This is definitely an area that I need to outsource. But it's a challenge to figure out like when is the right time for that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure. So.
Interesting. Well, you're still figuring it out, which I think is good, but I do think it's nice to know that your photography, you really are a self-made business. You are really have your hands and feet wet in every aspect of the business. And now here you are 3 years in hiring that virtual assistant. The advice I would give designers, and you would too probably, is don't wait, just start with that virtual assistant. And because like you said, you start getting overwhelmed where you thought this would be something that wouldn't take so much time. And I think probably what you always think when you start a business, you have this vision and then you get really into it and really passionate and you almost can't stop. Yeah. So I think that that's really good advice is just don't wait, but also knowing that don't be intimidated. You can be your own photographer. You can learn.
Yeah. And I love the creative side of my business, which is pairing fabrics together and styling them and photographing them. And so it's actually a part that I really quite enjoy. And I feel like it is a really nice service that I can provide for people to show them that here's a pillow and then here's how you can style it up and here's how you can pair it together with other pillows. And we're going to take all the trouble out for you. It's like a little mini design service on textiles, but in a product. And so I do enjoy it. So I think that's why I still do it, because it's a part that I really enjoy, like getting my hands on the textiles and pairing them with other patterns and scales and textures, and that designers and my customers can know that I do that with my textiles, and they can trust that these are being paired by me myself. Like that, this is something that I can put my name behind as far as that goes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Speaking of designers and working with your clients and your customers, do you have a special trade program for designers? Have you developed that kind of onto your website, or what do you think that's necessary? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so we do have a trade program. There is a link on my website that you can click on and fill out the form, and then we will send you a discount code that you can use on all your purchases. We love working with interior designers. I like when a lot of them will send me their design boards or things they're working on to give my opinion, since I touch and play with the textiles every day. And I love doing that. I mean, it's something that I've done for so many years, and it's a part that I truly do miss. So I love when I get to collaborate with designers and help them with their pillow selections, for sure.
That's nice to know, because sometimes it comes to accessories and the designers are tired. Their brains are like, I can't even look at this anymore. And if they have the opportunity to send you something, be like, hey, what do you think? Like, I don't really know. And I think that really personifies your brand. And I think that's helpful for designers to think about when they are launching their own online shop or whatever their side hustle may be. It might not be pillows. It might be artwork. It might be something else, of picking something that really like curate, like makes you so excited. And for you, you said, the styling piece, so this really works for you, but having designers to really think about what's that thing that they really like at the end of a project. And that could be the thing that they add as like their side hustle on their website. But I think it's important that and you said this earlier, that you already had a following, that you had the blog, and that it's not just going to happen overnight. It's a true labor of love. And you can see, if you follow Danielle on Instagram, I see it's a labor of love, and you've really personified your brand, and that people can really resonate with you and say, okay, like, I really want to support local. This is handmade, or whatever the item is. And it's supporting a woman business, or whatever it may be. I definitely think at the end of the day, you're doing a great job with that. And our design community definitely recognizes that. And it's good to know that you're also giving back to designers in developing that kind of trade program.
Yeah, so I would say that your online presence and allowing your customers or followers, whatever, to see you and who you are and what you're working for, and your passion and your hard days and your good days and your successes is the most important part of running the business. And it has been the most successful part of running my business. I have had people message me with offerings to help that have all sorts of connections, that have all sorts of abilities and talents that I could have never imagined. People are so supportive. I want to watch and be on somebody's journey with them, and so do other people. And opening yourself out and being vulnerable and honest, and allowing people to see the hard days, and when you make mistakes, and when you have really good days, and when you sell well and your business is progressing, is what will make you different than anybody else and will set you apart. And I think that it is the biggest and most important part about running a business.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you see so many products out there. There's so many pillows. Exactly what you just said. Really being yourself and allowing people to see, okay, like, there's a reason why I want to buy this pillow, and I want to buy it from Danielle. And there's a reason why I'm following your blog, because she's teaching me something. She's educating me. I'm bringing value to my client by sourcing your pillows and putting them into my client's home. I feel like there's so much more than design. It's not just placing things in a room. It's really making a house a home, and having clients understand why they're hiring a designer. The designer is sourcing really amazingly made goods, and that have a story too. So like you said, you tried the vintage thing, and you do still think vintage is important, but it's also finding something that works for your business, that you can repeat itself without you having to do all the back end stuff, I did see a question pop up about the technology piece. What is your website? If you're open to sharing, what is your website built in? And do you do all of your own website stuff as well?
We are in Shopify, and I hired someone to build the website or get it all set up for me. And then I do have a girl that helps me, that I text her every time something's gone wrong. And she is a little wizard, and she gets in there and takes care of it. I have to have support that way, because I don't know. It overwhelms me. I mean, it is crazy how all of a sudden one thing will go wrong, and she'll like check the code, and she'll be like, I don't know why this happened or whatever. And she'll just fix it. And I'm like, thank you. So that is definitely a very important part of running the shop, is making sure that it's working and running.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you do so much that's one thing that I'm glad to hear you don't do, because I think that that's the only way to make this. And again, this is your full-time gig for these designers, and some designers listening might have some full-time shops. And I like the idea of, not just being on one platform, of working with Etsy. And I just bought something on Etsy and I totally forgot about Etsy, but having it be something. And as a reminder, always use affiliate links to our design community. We were very nicely reminded of that on the last webinar we did with Identity Collective. And it makes it not seem so overwhelming. I think that you just gave us perfect advice. Designers, don't manage your own website. Have help. It's something that you can outsource. And it's a time suck for you because you're a creative person. You don't want to be coding a website.
No, I mean, there are two and that would my website and accounting.
Yeah. So do you have help with the accounting piece too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I accountant that does all my bookkeeping and my taxes and all that kind of stuff. So they track everything. They go through the business cards and whatever, and then they send me reports at the end of the month. It is the most overwhelming part of the business to me. I actually was just sharing an Insta story that I got like a fee for $250 because I forgot to submit something that would be something I would do. It's I just want to build a business and create a product. That part is just too overwhelming to me. So
yeah. Okay, that's good. And that's kind of what I tell designers too. Outsource those two things. And that will make your life a lot easier, and figure out how you can price your product so that that's included. That's your overhead. It's cost of running a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think you're smart about little things of not just saying, okay, I'm going to pay $250. I'm going to look into it, because I know some designers that will just get a bill, and since they don't have time to even think about it, they'll just pay it. So being smart and being a businesswoman, and really not just pushing all of that yucky administrative stuff, or using a software like Ivy, using a software that helps you manage the kind of design oriented admin project management stuff in a way that you can clearly communicate with your clients, makes it so much nicer for you and for if you have an assistant or you have a team.
Yeah. Any quick apps or anything that you can help yourself as far as that goes is so important. And I'm really not that great at that right now. And I'm looking for different ways to make things easier and faster. And it's definitely something that I know I need to add to my business now that we've scaled to the point where, it's really just overwhelming because you just start to grow, and then things just start to compile on top of each other. So if in the beginning you can kind of get a handle on that kind of stuff, it's so much easier than where I'm at. And I'm so grateful that I've grown like I have, and that we've been able to scale like we have. But now it's a very overwhelming task to get it all figured out so that it's more effective. So.
Yep. Yeah. But I think it's, like I said, it's a constant evolution. You're accepting that you're not perfect, and knowing how to delegate, and knowing that there's a plan and you have goals, and you obviously have really been killing it with your marketing and your Instagram, and dedicating time, and knowing that, this is the day that I'm going to sell 5 pillows, and put the intention. Sorry, 5 sounds like a little number. Okay. 50 pillows, and partnering with different people, partnering with designers, partnering and getting out there and getting to markets. I think that's all a really important piece of the business. And if you do those things, then your shop, your side hustle will succeed, but you have to be patient. I think you're good because your overall vibe, even if you are overwhelmed, and even I watch you on Instagram stories, is you're very calm and composed and put together. Whereas with me, I would not be, but you're honest, and I think that's what people want to see in a brand, an honest person that is trying to make a living and trying to really beautify the world and help designers, and of course consumers too, but most, designers really care about bringing something that has meaning into a home. And I think you're doing an awesome job of that.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that people, when they watch a business or they watch anything grow, they like to be able to like think like I could do that. Like and they could. Most people could do that. And so when you make things relatable and you allow people to understand that this is like a very average situation over here and we're just working with what we have, and like we've moved all over 5 different times and our house flooded, and I don't have like an amazing setup or anything like that, but you can still, because of the internet and Instagram and social media and simply a computer and an online store, you can create something. And so I think it's nice for people to see that. I know I like to see that when I'm looking at other brands, to see like, this is so relatable to me. Like I am like that person. And then maybe I could do that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple questions coming in. Have you ever thought about adding more categories to your shop?
So I did. I started to bring in some Moroccan blankets, and I had some beads at some point and other things like that. And I quickly learned that the size that my shop is today, that I could not properly market and properly give the attention if I grew my categories. There are plenty of shops out there that have a wide range of product that they can offer. But I really think what is going to make my shop unique is that it will be known only for a pillow shop. And I hope it will be the best one. Like the best pillows. And I will be able to grow. I'll put all my money and all my time and energy into marketing it in a smaller category. And sometimes I think smaller categories can be more successful because they're easier for people to understand what they're coming for. I don't know though.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. And like you found your niche and that's what you do. That's your thing. You know, not saying that maybe in 5 years that won't change, but right now.
I'm open to anything, but right now what works and feels good is to stay focused in one area. Keep my brand and marketing focused in one area. And that's working for now. Who knows, maybe one day if I grow bigger and I have more help, I could, but I couldn't handle it on my own. I wasn't doing a good job at anything. So
yeah, exactly. Okay. One other question that I wanted to ask that just came in is, what are your favorite flea markets or markets in general to source products from?
So when we were living in Orange County, I went to the Long Beach Flea Market and to the Rose Bowl, and those are incredible. And I got a lot of contacts there of people that I still work with today. So that is definitely, if you're ever in the area, then I would recommend going there because you can find amazing vintage one-of-a-kind products. And you can get a lot of contacts and make a lot of connections and work with those people outside of the flea market. And then as far as, what else did you ask? Sorry.
Oh, your other like besides flea markets, just any other like markets in general that you like to go to that you can find unique fabric?
Yeah, so I now currently work with some independent companies that sell really unique pillows and fabrics. And we just spend all day long sourcing that. And then I also work with designer fabrics that I buy from showrooms. So really popular designers like Lisa Fine or John Robshaw, each of them will sell at a different showroom. And you just have to look up what fabric showroom they sell at, and then you can go and order through them if you're a designer. The challenge when you're a designer and making pillows is that you have to sometimes order a certain amount, and so you have a cut fee if you don't. And then if your project doesn't need that much, you're left over with this like $150 yard fabric that you don't know what to do with, and your workroom is expensive. So that's really what we're trying to provide for people is you're able to buy my pillow for a lot cheaper than you could even make it yourself, and you don't have any waste and you don't have any whatever because we are able to buy in large amounts. And so anyway, so we're working on growing our inventory every day so that we can provide prints and patterns that people want, and we're always open to suggestions. So if there is a pattern that you wish you could see made into pillows, like please email us and we are happy to look at it.
Okay. I love that. I love that you're open to the designer feedback as well. And then you have the designer's best interest at heart, right? Because you know that they have so many other things going on. It's not just like they're thinking about pillows and pillows could come at the end and they could be burnt out, but that you're readily available to provide that kind of design help. I always relied on my vendors too. I'm not a designer, I'm more the project management type, but to like fill in the holes. And I think, again, to the designers listening, that's what, if you're thinking about opening an online shop or providing an extra type of service, that's what you really need to think of. And Danielle, I think you're one step ahead of other people that are launching or starting online businesses because you've really thought through each of these processes. And I think it's clear in the way that you speak to your product that that's how you really built your business. And that's why you're succeeding and excelling right now.
I think just the so many years of experience in the design world really did help me, even though I may not be doing interior design right now. My education, all that has kind of come up to the point where I'm able to kind of see what I need to see and what the business needs and what designers want, because I was one for so long. So I'm really grateful that I have all that background to help me.
That's awesome. So if you were going to give our design community a couple pieces of advice in a nutshell, what would you tell our community?
I think I would say that you need to spend your time on social media and you will propel yourself and your business if you're able to really connect with people on social media and provide new and beautiful pictures and share your journey and story with people. I think there's nothing, I would say 97% of my sales come from Instagram, which is a little terrifying because I know I don't own Instagram, which is my second piece of advice would be to grow your email list.
Yeah, your newsletter, I was just going to say, grow your newsletter. And if you don't have the time to focus on your social media, you can outsource it. Find somebody that understands your brand and can at least make you a beautiful feed and know what's appropriate to post in your feed versus your Instagram story. Just follow Danielle. She's doing it all right.
Well, it's the first place I look when any business, like even if I'm going to go eat, I try to look up their Instagram account so I can look at pictures. So, I mean, even if you don't have time to do stories or whatnot, you need a feed that represents your style. So it's like the most important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you pay for Instagram advertising or is it all organic?
I have probably paid for about 2 or 3 posts. That's it. But that is on my list. But no, everyth's been organic.
But that's amazing. But that's amazing is that if you are doing it in a cohesive way that makes sense, that really is a brand and is you and a beautiful product, you don't have to pay. Paying, like you said, it's on your list. You're still selling pillows, but you're always thinking, how can I sell more pillows? How can I grow my business? But I think that that's an interesting point because a lot of designers just start to get overwhelmed, and it's possible. You just have to delegate and really map out and set a game plan, because if you try to just dive head first, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to get burnt out. And like for you, this has been not a sprint or a marathon. It's been a long progression.
Yeah, it definitely has. And people ask, like, how did you get your business to be so successful so fast? And even though the pillow shop itself, I feel like has gone really fast, I think we can probably say that all the years of all the things I did before definitely play a role into where I am today. So I can't just say this was like over 3 years this happened. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be fast for anybody. It's just a lot of hard work, and it's every single day. And the hard part is you're so busy doing the daily tasks that you need to do that sometimes you forget about your marketing, like your Instagram, and that might not make a lot of sense every single day to you, but you add it all together, like you stay consistent and you continue to put out information and your product for people, and it definitely adds up. And people see your product every day, and it reminds them, oh yeah, I like that pillow. Oh yeah, I like that pillow. Oh yeah, I like pillow. Okay, I'm gonna buy that pillow. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing the insider scoop and kind of the behind the scenes, I can't talk today, behind the scenes with us, Danielle, because honestly, we really value what you're bringing to our community. And it's really nice and kind of refreshing to hear what you've been through to get to this point, and knowing that it is possible, and knowing kind of a couple steps. And I think you had a lot of good feedback for our community, and remembering to outsource or take an online class on photography, and really trusting in yourself to take that leap of faith if you really have your heart in it. But also not posting on Instagram just because you have to post every day. Making it be a caption that's something relevant, because your audience will follow that and they'll feel your energy. Even though it is a digital technology, they can still feel that. So your heart really has to be in it.
Definitely. And thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this, and I sure wish that this software was around when I was doing my design work.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, who knows? We are always here to help you. And definitely we love all of the feedback that you've given us. So stay tuned for something else with Danielle. And thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. For those of you that want to learn more about Ivy, I'm going to show you how you can easily go on Danielle's shop, clip a pillow, and put it into your Ivy proposal. So thanks so much, Danielle. And let me go ahead and share my screen with you. And just like Danielle said, really, really easy. I know she was talking about photography and all of these amazing things. You should be able to see my screen right now. And I want to show you how easy it is with Ivy to really get the basics down, figure out your interior design business before you take the leap of faith in starting an online shop. But here you can see I'm on Danielle Oakey shop, and I have my little Ivy clipper, this extension that nests on my browser. And the hand right here, it allows me to just clip the product directly off of Danielle's website, and I can categorize it. I can add my cost, and I can add a purchase fee on top of that if I want to. Let's say I want it to be $110. It will figure that purchase fee out for me. And then I have Danielle as a vendor in my Ivy account. And I can just add her. If I'm sourcing a new vendor, I can just add that vendor in. And then you can add a description right here if you want to. I can also add the vendor description, and I can add it directly to my project. Now, if I want to add full details like dimensions or sizing or anything like that, I can do all of that with the clipper. I can save the product to my library, and then I can easily drop it into my proposal, which I've done right here. And you can see this proposal looks very professional. It's branded. It looks organized. It helps make you focus on what you want to do, design, and not put together this Excel spreadsheet or whatever you're using. QuickBooks doesn't allow you to put pictures. This is really nice, and it looks professional. So you can also generate your own custom tear sheets directly through Ivy. You can see right here, I've created these tear sheets. Looks really beautiful with Danielle's pillow. And you can add multiple items on there. I was just showing you an example. And you can send this out to your client. You can allow your client to pay by credit card or bank transfer. Both options are great. The money goes into your bank account in 2 to 3 business days. You can even send this out for your initial proposals with your estimation of hours. You can add attachments. There's a lot of flexibility in the proposal feature here. And once your client pays you, you can easily create it and turn it into a purchase order that you can send directly to your vendor. So everything with Danielle's shop, it's an online shop. You're maybe not sending her a PO, but maybe you have Design Within Reach here. They need a hard PO. Ivy does all of that for you. I recommend always generating purchase orders regardless so that you can understand your client expenses. And then you can see right here, I have this PO. I can plug in my estimated ship dates. And Ivy also gives you a calendar so you can see when these items are shipping. And that is a game changer because there's so many things going on at one time. So you can see kind of your whole team, what's been done, what's happening. We also give you a project tracker. And this is great to use. If you are doing the e-design, like Danielle said, you can just send this to your client. If they're doing the purchasing, it hyperlinks the link. Make sure you're using that affiliate link as Danielle was talking about. And this becomes the Bible of your project. Let's say you are doing the ordering for your client's project. You can easily pop in here. You can edit it. You can see details, scheduling details, accounting details. You can add notes like 12/7 arrived to receiver. So you can plug all of this in, and then everybody knows what's happening in the procurement process. You can use this and bounce it out to Excel if you want, or even better, you can just generate a beautiful FF&E schedule so that everything's organized and you can pick which information you want to export. All right. So what's nice here as well is that you can log all of your vendors. If you're coming from another software, you can upload all of your vendors into the software. You can save your vendor usernames and passwords as well. So again, everything is all in one place, and Ivy is very easy, intuitive to use. And again, you get your dedicated account manager. We have an Ivy app. We're actually launching our second iteration of the app coming soon. You can track your time on the go. We know that's one thing that designers really hate to do is track their time. So there's a nice little time tracker here, and you can track your time on the app. You can then generate your own invoices directly through Ivy, taking that online payment, getting paid directly through the system. And the other benefit of Ivy is we're not just a business management tool, but we also give you community via our Facebook group, via our online events, via our in-person events. If you weren't with us at High Point, we had a great time, but we work really hard on giving you that content, giving you that education, giving you Ivy training, making sure you're using your Ivy platform. You get your dedicated account manager. They'll help activate you. They'll help you get started. We also have the ability for you to integrate with QuickBooks on the back end. So you put everything in Ivy. All you have to worry about is Ivy. And then it's a one-way sync to QuickBooks Online. So your accountant, your bookkeeper can be over there, and you can focus on doing what you love to do the most, which is design. And then we also give you a discover section. So these are referrals. We talked a lot today about outsourcing. Outsource, you guys, please outsource. It will help you be more profitable. If somebody is doing drawings for you, which you can find in your Ivy account right here, maybe you're paying them $75 an hour, but you're billing out to your client for $150, guess what? You're making money on outsourcing. This is a key to really getting your business to that next level, like Danielle said, and I really admire Danielle. She's really forward thinking and always continuously thinking like, how can I do this so that I can get there? I think it's really important to think about steps, outsourcing, self-realization that you're not going to be perfect and that you can't do it all, and really leveraging Ivy to help you take your business to that next level. So please make sure we're going to be giving you guys all a call. If you don't know about Ivy yet, we'd love to follow up with a call, schedule time with you to tell you all about Ivy and what we can offer, and really understanding how you personally are running your business, because we know that as a designer, each designer runs their businesses very differently. And that's why we provide that kind of one-on-one complimentary call so that we can understand and advise you on what we recommend and show you how Ivy can really help you. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here with us today. And we will be with you soon, and very, very excited that Danielle kind of gave us a behind the scenes look at how she's got her business going. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.